We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
Coming out. Becoming transgender often comes with physical and emotional trauma. They face job discrimination, estrangement from family, ridicule from society, sexual assault, and other heartbreaks. No wonder suicide becomes an option because it ends the pain. But with all they had to endure, some transgender persons manage to live lives on their own terms and excel at what they do. There's former tennis player Renee Richards, who became a Park Avenue ophthalmologist. What about classical music composer Angela Morley, who won 2 Emmy Awards for her work in television? In our community, we have Geena Rocero and Gandanghari, who are regulars in the modeling industry. The Williams Institute of UCLA estimated a population of 1.4 million transgender Americans. With a surge in visibility, some are saying there could be more. There is no accurate count because many trans people remain hidden, and in surveys, do not always know which box to check. I'm Jen Fier. Together with my co-hosts Rocero Campo and Cristina Pastor, we welcome you to Makilala TV. In today's episode, we will try to understand what being transgender means. With us in the panel are Vanna Renoa, a makeup artist, and Alana Dillon, a model from Brooklyn. They will share the stories of coming out, some call it being reborn, and how the journey has been so far. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
So this is totally new for me, for us. And as I always say, you don't really know what it's like until you live it. I mean, I don't know a lot of transgender people. I haven't really met or really know one. So there are a lot of questions that we want to ask, and we don't know where to begin. So I guess for today, let's start with maybe you could introduce a little bit about yourself. So we'll start with Alana.
Yeah, so my name's Alana Dillon, and I am the first Miss Gorge, with whom Vanna was the runner-up. That's how we met. And I'm a New York native, and I've lived in 4 of the 5 boroughs. I've lived in Manhattan, the Bronx, Staten Island, and now I live in Brooklyn.
Wow.
And I started my transition when I was 19 years old.
19. And
when I was
you're
in college.
how old now?
I'm
Young?
21.
21.
Yeah.
Very young.
Sorry.
How about you, Vanna?
Hi, I'm Vanna Renoa. I'm Filipina, but I live here in New York for almost 3 years, and I do I'm a professional makeup artist, and I've been I transition, and at the same time, I already reassignment surgery, undergo reassignment surgery for almost 7 years. So,
Wow.
and that's my life being a woman, and I am the first runner-up from Miss Gorge
Miss Gorge.
last competition.
Congratulations,
Congratulations
ladies.
to you
Thank you.
too.
Thank you.
So, you said something about a surgery. That was the first thing that caught my attention. Surgery. You said something about reassignment surgery.
Yes.
Are you okay to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm open about about that changes what I have in my I do a transition. I do the reassignment surgery in Thailand. That was 7
Oh, in
years.
Thailand.
Yeah. And then
Is it an expensive process?
it is expensive process. You need to save, and you need to consult first a doctor
okay.
and everything, because there will be circumstances happening.
That's
It's like a
So,
whole process. to
It's
get
a whole
through the
process. There
thing.
will be a process to do that certain things to change.
That's
and I have no regrets with that, because since when I was young, I really want to be a woman. What I want, because it's big question for my sexuality. Like I facing the mirror, and I don't know like who I am. I'm always talk with myself like who I am. I've been try hard to make myself better for my family needs, that they want me to be a real man, and it doesn't work for me. It's like in a closet. I've been struggle a lot, but
You said when you were young.
Yes.
What age was that?
That was like
5.
12.
Oh, 12.
Yeah,
Okay.
12. But yeah, 12 years old that I am already like questioning myself, like what's going on with me? There's something wrong with myself. Like
Alana, what about Alana? When did you come to a realization that?
I think I knew like by myself, like
Earlier
personally
too.
to myself, probably when I was like 5 years old. You know, when I was
really?
like little, I always just associated myself with all like the girls in my classes, and I remember playing with our dolls and stuff, Polly Pockets. That was like the jam. Yeah, so I'd say I always somewhat knew. I didn't put the words to it though until I was about 19, which is when I did it.
Oh, okay.
I feel like people, us who are comfortable with the sex we're born with, we don't know what it feels like to feel like different.
Yes.
So, and I'm actually struggling, like what questions to ask? I mean, are there questions we can ask and not ask?
The way that I would say it for cisgender people to understand what being trans feels like, it's like looking in the mirror and seeing someone else standing on the other side, and you don't know who that person is and why you
I
look
hear
like
that a lot.
Yeah,
You know,
and it's
I
just
hear that comment a lot.
Sorry, my mic is falling out.
That's
that
okay
back in
if you can still be heard. So, one of the things that I've always wondered personally is, do you have at the back of your mind, have you ever wondered why can't I just be gay? Why do I have to be trans? Is that a valid question even?
I see the point in asking it, but I personally, I think that the journey of being transgender, I wouldn't give it up for anything, because the people that I've met and the experiences that I've had just based on my gender identity have been so rich and so full. Like I wouldn't have done the pageant, I wouldn't have had a modeling contract right now, I wouldn't have gotten to meet Vanna, and all of that just if I had been born a cisgender person. Even if I was born a cisgender girl, I feel like I'd be terribly basic. I'd just be pregnant and like in the hills somewhere.
Nothing wrong with being
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but you know that's
just not you.
That's what I'd
That's
be doing,
right,
and I've never aspired to just that. You know,
God, we're leaving a boarding line.
I know, we're so basic. So basic. But
sorry,
you,
girls. No, I'm kidding.
But I remember you mentioning that earlier that you were involved in a show called Transcripts. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Transcripts is a play written by a fabulous writer named Paul Lucas, and it was actually produced from the Staten Island Pride Center, but I was still living in Staten Island, and they had sent out this casting, and the Staten Island Pride Center is really good to me, especially their director, Lisa Sloan. She always sends me all these auditions and like casting notices and just anything to try to get me out there and that kind of stuff. She's been very good to me, and one of the things that came up was this play, Transcripts, which is kind of akin to the Vagina Monologues, in that it's a lot of different stories compiled into a few to try to tell the story of a whole lot of women.
Yeah.
So Paul interviewed so many people across, I think, it was like 5 continents. Like don't mark me on that.
But
But
what makes this show unique is that these are the stories of just
of all
transgender
trans
people.
women. Yeah, which was
Okay.
amazing. And it showed older people, younger people,
That's interesting.
people that were born intersex, which is something totally other, and how they found themselves in the trans community. And I was really glad to be a part of that. And it actually, I got to meet the character that I played. She came to the show, and
That's
that was
great.
really cool. Yeah.
So you played a different character? You were not sharing your own story?
No, because the play had already been written.
Okay.
So I was just acting in a role. But there was a character from Staten Island actually, whose name was Sandra, and so that was my character. And after the show, I was running out because I had something else to go do. But the writer's assistant actually came up to me running, and he was like, Alana, I have something for you. And I was like, what's up? Like, what could it possibly be? And he just ran me over to this woman, and he was like, this is Sandra. And I was like, oh.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to hear more transgender stories about you, and maybe somebody will write a story of your own.
There's a lot of
your
different
own
stories.
journey.
Vanna's story is actually interesting because she comes from a family of 3 sisters, right?
Yes.
Four sisters.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I have
4
4
sisters?
sisters,
Oh, 4 sisters.
and I am the only boy in
Yeah.
family.
well, that's
so-
like you're usually family is important, right?
Yes,
So how
yes.
did your family deal with
Actually,
your
it's very
father?
actually it's very hard for me because I am the only boy. So my father expect me to bring the name.
Yeah,
we
that's
are in
right.
Philippines. We need to bring the name, especially when you're a boy.
Carry on, yeah.
They have to carry the name of the family. But it just happened like I'm not happy anymore.
What rank are you in your siblings? Are you the oldest?
I'm
middle
a
child?
third born.
Oh,
so,
okay.
and it's very hard for me to face that fact that even though your family opposed what you want,
Oh.
and it's very emotional for me because my mom and dad passed away already. So
Did
I'm
they
sorry.
know? Did they know
Yeah, they
before?
know.
Ah,
They know
okay.
that you must. In Philippines, especially with my family, like you need to prove to yourself that you can be a very independent person, individuals, and I proved to myself too. Like, oh my God, I'm so emotional.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm sure they're very proud of you.
Yeah,
I'm
they are.
sure they're like, you know, up there in heaven, come down and say, oh, poor beautiful daughter. Oh. I mean, Alana, you have very supportive parents.
Yeah,
I mean, they're actually here in the
I'm very
studio with
lucky.
us.
They are,
And,
yeah.
I mean, not everyone, you know,
No,
has that.
yeah.
I mean, even, you know, how can I say us? If not every time, sometimes you want to do something and then you're not being supportive.
Yeah,
But
I don't think that's just something that's distinctly transgender to experience, like parents
Mhm.
not
You're right.
supporting something.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's a
That's
very
why,
human
like,
thing.
I'm so much, happy and appreciate that those transgender or any sexuality that they really support their family support them what you want, and I'm so proud also to myself that my mom and dad support me in the end of my journey of my life because I try hard and to sustain all the needs that they want until the end of their life. I sustain everything and finances.
Oh.
Yes,
Were you
so-
working at the time?
Yeah, I'm working as a makeup artist,
Oh,
celebrity
okay.
makeup artist in the Philippines, and it's a great opportunity also to work with the celebrities. And I think the talent that I have right now, I use it with with powers and passion. So that's make me more, survival. So I'm so
Yeah.
much happy.
you mentioned earlier surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done research leading up to this interview, and some people ask me, like, maybe you should ask the before picture or transformation. But I'm not even sure if that's a valid question to ask. I mean, what do you think? Well,
Yeah.
why is it valid and not valid? And why is
Well-
it insensitive?
Yeah, well, for us, it's not a transformation. Like, for
Yeah.
us, it's just finally today I'm myself, So, doing a before and after, I think that works on something like the Maury show, where you could be like, oh my God,
No,
where you
we are
could-
not.
Yeah,
We are
where you
not
could-
that
exactly, which is something that I'm really happy to be a part of, which is why I'm not on the Maury show right now. You know what I mean? So doing the before and after, it contributes to this idea that you were once a man, you're now a woman. But to us, we've always been women, no matter what you looked like. And there are people that transition in their 60s or 70s that lived as middle-aged and even over middle-aged men.
Caitlyn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Caitlyn Jenner. So there's documentable evidence that they lived as a man, but if you were to ask that person at that time, even when the outside world saw them as a man, they would have always been a woman to themselves. So a before and after isn't really applicable to trans people.
Is that
because we
a
never
form
s-
of disrespect to
Exactly.
the trans community? Okay.
Exactly. It'd be the same thing as walking up to someone on the street and being like, what did you used to look like? Even if in high
That's
school,
a
like
good
if
way
you were
of
fat,
putting it.
you know what I mean? If you were fat in high school, you don't want to show everyone what you were fat in high school. For us, being men was just being fat in high school.
when I watched your pageant, Miss Gorge, and a lot of you spoke about love and understanding.
Yeah.
Right. Why is that important to articulate?
Yeah, because I think we need people that do understand us and love us, because majority are like, especially in Philippines, I grew up and born in the Philippines, so it's a lot. I've been facing a discrimination, bully, everything. I faced that in my own. Nobody's guarded me. Even my parents didn't know that.
What makes you tough to
Make me
to
tough?
survive all that?
My
Did you have a community of trans people that you can run to and cry your heart out at the end of the day, maybe?
because I have a goal in life. I have a big dreams in my life. So that's run into me. Despite of all the discrimination in the society, even though opposed with my religious belief, family and society expectation, I really need to be, strive hard to be happy, because at the end of the day, it's about happiness. And if you're happy, then you can go wherever you want to go.
That's right.
You can fly wherever you want to fly.
about you?
That's the most important thing.
I'm sure, yeah.
What about
And
you,
that
Alana?
is-
Yeah, and I think that that's something that transition almost teaches you, because watching yourself become your best self, just even physically, it teaches you that happiness is so much worth it. It's so worth the wait, and it's worth the perseverance and the tough times and the nights that you spend like crying on your kitchen floor or whatever. It's all worth persevering through that to get to your goal. And becoming your best self. I think that's
I asked one of you to give me a quote, and you said like, different is a strength, not a weakness, or you're different as a badge of honor.
yeah.
So there are a lot of people who don't understand and have a hard time understanding why there are transgender people. So how do you make them understand? How do you I guess, like, where do you begin? I mean, hopefully our conversation will help community, but like if you say you meet somebody, it's like even like scared to ask you a question because they don't know whether they're stepping on anything that's not good or bad. Or
I think it's just important to let the trans person speak and hear what they have to say in their terms, and not try to go into it with a lot of misconceptions, because I feel like that's where a lot of the problem with people pushing back against trans people comes from, is them going in with their own perceptions of what being trans is.
Well, what is one example of like a major misconception of the transgender community?
Yeah, like we were just talking about LGBT, even just the acronym. There's a reason why there's a T at the end of the acronym, because it's a lot of people see trans people as gay men, but that's the second letter. We're T. That's
Here's
the
the last
fourth
one.
letter. It's a whole nother different part of the
okay,
part of the spectrum, and it's a completely different identity. And so even just understanding that much, that we're different from what you think we are, I think that'll help contribute to how you're going to understand us, and even just understanding us just as people, because I think a lot of people have all these ideas and just don't see us as just people. I always personally go with make them laugh. If you can make them laugh, then most of the time they'll see that you're just another person, just like them.
What is the most annoying thing that you hear people ask about you?
Besides
I asked this of you.
everything.
I'm sorry?
Besides everything.
Don't ask any questions.
I asked this about you, Vanner, earlier.
Yeah, the one like you don't show your husband like that.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
show.
sure.
You better not show her to your
Yeah.
husband. Something like that. It was really very
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
don't show it.
Don't
Don't
show her to your husband.
Husband, yeah, because like, oh, they're
Because
so
I was
pretty.
kind of like, oh my gosh, you guys are so
Yeah,
pretty.
they're
so
And
pretty,
then
like,
somebody
Because
can
you're so
comment.
pretty, like they are prettier than the wives. That's
No,
that's a
yeah,
misconception.
yeah,
right?
but we know already where we stand. So we always do respect, because once you do respect with others, it turn back to you the respect. So, and sometimes also when I go back to Philippines, you can hear us. You already look like a woman, but they still say Mister. That's
they can
the
tell.
yes, that's the most annoying part. I've been experiencing it before.
Being
so
called Mister, yeah.
Mister,
Yeah.
like I feel
How do
like
how do you put them in their place?
I call the manager actually. Can I call you manager, because maybe you're a lack of
Not
I think
educated.
it's like a lack,
yeah.
It's
like
just
cultural,
lack of like empathy, like just
They're-
trying to
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I don't know.
awareness,
Like maybe they just used to it, because it's like we are look like a joker or whatever. They are like, I don't know. Sometimes like people like not educated for that.
Yeah.
So they need more knowledge to understand.
Does it happen
yeah.
more in the Philippines than here in New York?
Some Filipinos.
Oh, you have problems.
Yeah,
with
that's
the-
why
with the
I'm
community, yeah.
I'm not offended with our Filipino communities and everything, but sometimes like Filipinos, they really
They judge
they
people.
judge you who you are then, and that's why I really like here to stay in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like it's open and free country.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have these, at 5 you said you already have these feelings. So what do you tell little kids who are not sure?
Yeah.
It's like, and then the parents of those little kids. I mean, if let's say you're on a workshop or something, you're addressing them,
Yeah.
what would you tell them?
Yeah, I've actually been really blessed in that I've worked with the Hedrick Martin Institute for their youth summit, and that was an experience where I first really got to interact with children, it like in my like since transitioning, and that's been something that I think is really important. And actually, in my reign as Miss Gorge, I'm trying to make a stop at each of the LGBT centers throughout the city, in order specifically to talk to youth. So I'm glad that you asked that question. I think it's just important to let the kid express themselves and be themselves as much as possible, and know that there's a lot of parents that say, well, what if this is just a phase? And what if this is just a moment in their life and they're gonna grow past it? And what if starting them on their transition screws them up later? Like, what if later they decide not? But I think you'll just know with your kid. If you truly know your child, then you should be able to tell that that this is what's right for them. And even what's the worst that can happen? You know, you let them express themselves for a little while, and then afterwards they can just go do whatever they want. You know, I think it's important to realize that you're raising a person. You're not just raising who you thought you were going to raise. You got random. You know, like getting a child, you don't get to pre-design, oh, this is going to be a football player, or it's going to be, you know, an oboe player. You know, like, I don't know. It's, you don't get to choose, so you just have to support your kid as much as possible. So, you know, buy them the toys they want.
Have such positive attitude. I mean, it's just uplifting.
Yeah,
you know?
that's something I think the transition teaches you. You know, it's that we've seen like our darkest days already.
Yeah,
you
despite
know,
all
so
the
now it's just like,
and
all right,
everything, you know.
All right, we're coming to a close. So go ahead, Rochelle.
No, I was gonna say, like, what was the most challenging part of your experience?
Oh, me? I thought
My experience when I was, you know, in Thailand undergoing my reassignment. That's the most, you know,
painful,
it's painful.
stressful?
Like I offer my life with God if they will be successful or not. This is all that I, I decide for you.
Were you with friends or
Oh,
family?
yes, and that's the. I don't want to get back on that.
Were you
But
alone, or you were with friends or
I
family?
am alone,
You
go
were
to
alone.
Thailand, but I have some friends stay there, so they're the one who take care of me. So I stay there for 1 month to recover.
So any last few words that you want to tell our audience?
I mean, I didn't know if you were talking to her. Yeah, no, I think just when you're approaching trans people, you just always have to remember that that's someone's kid, and that's someone's best friend, and that's someone's lifeline, you know. And although you might think that we're so other or we're so different, trans people are integral to some communities. Like out in Hawaii, there's a whole nother sect of people, I forget the name, but trans people are celebrated, and that's something that's not uncommon in a lot of different communities throughout the world. So it's kind of just Western culture that has to catch up a little bit. But we're no different from anybody else. You know what I mean? We're sitting here on
Thank
this
you so much. Thank you for
course.
being here. And
thank you.
Yeah, it's her pleasure.
it's hopefully we can bridge the gap by starting the conversation. And again, thank you for being here. It's just like, you know, like anything else, we have to end. And I can't say you thank you enough. So that's it for our panel. As we conclude today's episode, we want to say again, maraming salamat to our guests, Alana and Vana, for gracing our show. And to our viewers, I'll leave you with this. Let's embrace what makes us unique and different. As people say, we are all in this together. Let's find it in our hearts to create a community filled with love, understanding, and compassion. So go out there, as you know, these two beautiful ladies say, be true, be fierce, be kind. And as we say in Filipino, magpakabait kayo. To end, before we say goodbye, performing us today is a versatile singer and a multi-medalist at the 2017 World Championship of Performing Arts, Miss Angel Ram, who will be singing one of her songs from her second EP. So let's give a warm round of applause to Miss Angel Ram.
try to fit you in the walls inside my mind. I try to keep you safely in between the lines. I try to put you in the box that I've designed. I try to pull you down so we are eye to eye. When did I forget that you've always been the king of the world? I try to take life back right out of the hands of the king of the world. How could I make you so small when you're the one who holds it all? When did I forget that you've always been the king of the world? Just a whisper of your voice can tame the seas. So who am I to try and take the lead? Still I run ahead and think I'm strong enough, when you're the one who made me from the dust. When did I forget that you've always been the king of the world? I try to take life back right out of the hands of the king of the world. How could I make you so small when you're the one who holds it all? When did I forget that you've always been the king of the world? Ooh, you set it all in motion. Every single moment, you brought it all to me, and you're holding on to me. When did I forget that you've always been the king of the world? I try to take life back right out of the hands of the king of the world. How could I make you so small when you're the one who holds it all? When did I forget that you've always been the king of the world? You will always be